What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the JTW Sports Show. It's been a couple weeks, but we're back. We're back. We're better than ever, and we're ready to start talking about a couple new things. Today we're actually going to talk about the NBA. It's kind of Super Bowl season right now, but tomorrow is the NBA's trade deadline. So there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors going around, and we kind of want to talk about a few of them. So, Will, TJ, how you guys feeling, man?
I'm great. I'm ready to. I love the trade deadline because the NBA is the one sport where you see a bunch of trades. Most of the other professional sports you don't see many trades, but the NBA is so like trade happy for some reason.
What about you, T? How you feeling, buddy?
Just ready to get back after it.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I mean, just like Will said, once you get around the February 10th mark, at least for this year, it's big time. Like trade rumors everywhere, and you're dropped. There's a bunch of just these Woj bombs being dropped on Twitter, and it's a really fun time of the year. It's super cool. So I think kind of the big one that's kind of roaming around right now deals with a player that's been in talks for quite a long time now, a few months, and that's Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, he hasn't played. He's been causing a lot of trouble, within the organization by, he doesn't want to be there. There's a lot of drama, but there's a lot of trade talks about him getting traded for James Harden. And so, you know what, Will, I'll let you talk about it. I'll let you talk about it a little bit.
So earlier today, actually, Woj, tweeted out that the Nets and the Sixers, they have no negotiation going on. Now, Brian Windhorst reported that they are in deep talks of a trade. Steve Nash, he doesn't want to trade James Harden. The Nets don't want to trade James Harden. James Harden doesn't want to play for the Nets because of Kyrie's situation. Because I think that he feels that he's not he feels like that they're prioritizing too much for Kyrie. Kyrie takes too much away from James Harden when he sits out for 3 games and then comes back for 2 games and then sits out again. So I think that this trade would be a good trade for both teams, however. But I don't know if it's actually going to happen.
See, I like to think it's a good trade for both teams as well. You look at this Sixers team to start out with, and we all know, last year in the bubble in the playoffs, they had their problems with Ben Simmons. And I think especially against the Hawks, that's where it was kind of really, really coming out, where you can't trust Ben Simmons in the fourth quarter because of the foul trouble, and he can't make his free throws. And he's now giving up shots because he's scared of getting fouled and scared of taking the free throws, putting his team in a worse situation. And so you get a player like James Harden, who, we all know is one of the best players in the league. He's a primary ball handler. He's a good player. He's a pretty good shooter, and he knows how to get points. And I think he'd be a good match with Joel Embiid. And I think that they're really trying to do whatever it takes to pair Joel with another superstar. And instead of acquiring other smaller pieces to fit them. So I think that's a cool part. TJ, do you have any thoughts about that?
I mean, it's really just James Harden wants the spotlight again.
Yeah.
He doesn't get it in Brooklyn.
Do you think that him and Embiid would work good together though, TJ?
No.
Really?
Yes, and no. Yes, they could, but once Embiid starts getting the spotlight, it's going to quickly change the narrative again.
Yeah.
James Harden's also getting up there in age, which, yes, he is still a great player, but you can't go from team to team anymore because once that starts happening, no one's going to end up wanting you and you're going to be forced to retire.
It's kind of like the Russell Westbrook situation right now, and everyone hates him.
Lakers don't want him.
Yeah,
looking on it, apparently everyone, good God, this table's unsturdy. Apparently, the Lakers aren't happy with now looking at it going, that was dumb. That was stupid of us to even consider. Which, I mean, he's underperforming, which we talked about last time we did our NBA videos, that the Lakers as a team itself are kind of just they're like right there and then they're not there.
Yeah. So they should be great with the firepower they have. But yeah, I mean, I actually do think that Harden and Joel will be a good match. Now they are both, believe it or not, Joel being a center is still a a primary ball handler, which is crazy. He gets the ball in the post and he's doing all the work. He is their offense. He is their stability. And bringing in James Harden, I think James Harden would still have to take kind of a secondary role in that team, but a lot more of a role than the Nets are allowing him to take right now. I think he'd be happier. I just don't think they should give up as many assets as there have been rumored to.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it a little earlier before the show. The Nets are asking for Ben Simmons, Matisse Thybulle, Seth Curry, and Andre Drummond.
That's a lot.
I think that's way too much. Considering
Seth Curry's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
His grandkids are now close to their grandpa. He's not going anywhere.
I seriously think that but also the 76ers said the one player they would give up all the other players. The one player they did not want to give up is Seth Curry. And that's why they were like, they have already said that Tyrese Maxey is not available whatsoever. However, there was a report from yesterday that Doc Rivers said that the 76ers need a point guard. So if the 76ers don't pull off a trade for, James Harden, be on the lookout for them to make a smaller deal to get like a.
I don't even know about a smaller deal. I think they might try to splash. And one name that comes to my mind is, of course, Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because of their recent trade that happened with CJ McCollum.
Yeah.
And so I guess we can talk about details of that trade. So basically what's been going on is the Blazers and the Pelicans landed a deal. And so now CJ McCollum is going to be matched up, with Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. And I'm trying to think.
The Pelicans are getting CJ McCollum, Larry Nance, and Tony Snell. The Blazers are getting Josh Hart, Tomas Satoransky, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Didi Louzada, I don't even know who that is, a 2022 protected first-round pick, and 2 seconds. This is more than the original report because the original report was literally Josh Hart, a first and a second. So they're doing this. I think the Blazers are trying to go rebuild mode, but also, if you remember the first trade of the trade season last Friday, they traded Norman Powell and Robert Covington to the Clippers for Eric Bledsoe, Keon Johnson, Justice Winslow, and a Pistons second-round pick in 2025. And then earlier today, they made a trade with a three-team trade with the Spurs and the Jazz. So the Blazers are actually acquiring Joe Ingles, who is hurt. He tore his ACL, so he's out for the season. And then they're also getting Elijah Hughes in a second-round pick. The Jazz are getting Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Juancho Hernan-Gomez, and then the Spurs are in there with Tomas Satoransky in a second. So a lot of moving parts, but it's like the Blazers don't know what they're doing, and I think we all want to see Dame on a team that he can compete with, because the Dame and CJ thing, obviously, it's broken up now, and they said that they were going to build around Damian Lillard. But I think they just need to hit the reset button and trade Damian Lillard I've seen some people say trade Damian Lillard for Russell Westbrook and have Dame on the Lakers. I don't think Portland would do that because I don't think they want Westbrook's contract. But I don't know how y'all would feel about that.
That might help out, obviously you're not trading for Westbrook to take on Westbrook. You're trading for Westbrook for then for when his contract is up, you're off the books with him, but also you're taking in some picks there and maybe some young capital.
And he can still bring in fans and keep you kind of relevant.
Exactly. But it's gonna be a longer kind of rebuild process for them if that was to happen. But I would love to. I mean, personally, I'd love to see Dame, LeBron, and Anthony Davis on the same team, but that's not gonna happen. But I guess we can talk about. the Pelican side with CJ McCollum now. They've kind of needed, that kind of star, I guess shooter, if you will. CJ McCollum's it's a solid player. Obviously, his backcourt with Dame didn't work out, and I'm just hoping that in New Orleans it can work out. This team could be a playoff contender now. Obviously, I'm not saying this year, but in the future when Zion's back.
Pelicans could make playoffs this year.
They could, and
people are saying that's why they did trade.
Let's be honest. It's them and the Lakers right now at 9 and 10.
Yeah, I think the Lakers are gonna make the playoffs. I've
I
been
think
saying,
they'll end up making the playoffs. Now, actually, let me rephrase that. I think they will end up making the play-in. Now, coming down to the playoffs, I don't know if they will win the play-in games to make the playoffs, but they will make the play-in.
yeah,
I was gonna say we had an article earlier. All right, there was an article earlier, and it was like 5 trades that would shake up the NBA. And I was just gonna say, get y'all's quick yes no if that would be a good trade. The Bulls get Jeremy Grant from the Pistons for Patrick Williams and Derrick Jones Jr.
I think that instantly makes the Bulls a better team. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think Jeremy Grant wants that to happen because he's gonna take
Yeah.
a number 3 role, maybe a number 4 role on that team. Patrick Williams, I think you should let him kind of improve and get better with the team. I'd like Patrick Williams. His future is bright. I just don't know. I don't really like that trade because I don't think
But they signed DeRozan, so they're in win
now mode.
and the next 2 years mode.
Yeah,
So
I don't. That's not what Jeremy Grant wants. I think he's going to end up having an attitude about it and one out and not play up to par. And then you just lose Patrick Williams out of that.
And that's kind of the problem though. If you think about it nowadays, is when it comes to these trade rumors, especially like you said, NBA is let's be honest, they're the only professional sport that trades halfway through the season as much as anybody else.
Yeah.
Sure, NFL will have this here or there, but it's when the NFL does it, it's more of all right. Here's our third string for your second string. It's not.
Or the NFL is a lot of draft picks as well.
Yeah. So if you look at it, someone that's going from being a 1 or a 2 on a team that, yes, they could be performing under par, but still you're the face, you're the one that puts people in seats, to a 3 or 4, you're quickly like, all right, I don't know about this one.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with that trade right there is it is the role, like Jimmy said, of taking on a 3 or a 4.
Yeah.
You are going to become unhappy. And then once you become unhappy, you're not going to want to play. And if you don't want to play, you're going to request a trade. And then it's just a waste of anything.
I think everything is better than playing in Detroit, though.
Hey, don't hate on Detroit. They're on the come up in every sport. Not really, but
This trade's actually for the Raptors, and I kind of like it. TJ, the Raptors, I know you always talk about them rebuilding, but the Raptors are playing pretty good lately.
No, I know we are. I know we're at 6. Like I said, I've been kind of out of touch with NBA as a whole, but I have been watching as many Raptors games as I can. Like when they're like shown here,
Twice a year.
Twice a year,
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I've been keeping up with them. I mean, we've been playing well. I think we'll make playoffs.
So this would have the Raptors receiving Miles Turner and Buddy Hield from the Pacers for Goran Dragic, Chris Boucher, Kim Birch, Malachi Flynn, and 2 first-round picks. And looking at that for the Raptors, pairing Miles Turner with Siakam, also having Buddy Hield, OG Anunoby, I mean, that's
Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, that's nice.
I like that trade.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's beneficial for us. Like I said, I mean, there's a chance we're going to make the playoffs, but make the playoffs is just the first stepping stone.
I would love that trade for Toronto. I think obviously Buddy Hield just got traded to the Pacers. And we haven't really talked about that much quite yet, but I think that duo in pairing with VanVleet with Siakam, I'd be super excited for that. It brings a lot of great shooting to the team. Miles Turner's a good stretch, but he's also a good rim protector, paint player. And Buddy Hield is one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. I think it makes that team super interesting and definitely a playoff team. And a lot of teams want Miles Turner.
Yeah,
I think he's such a valuable.
But after the Sabonis trade, which Sabonis got traded to the Kings for basically Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield. There was a couple smaller players thrown in there. Miles Turner said, "Hey, now that Sabonis is gone, I am the big man I'm the big man again here." So Miles Turner said, "I don't want to get traded anymore."
Yeah,
but I think Indiana should move on from Miles Turner.
It sucks. I mean, I think he's such a valuable player that every team wants him on their team because of what he can do. And it just depends on who he can grow the most with. And I think matching him, like you said, with Pascal Siakam, that might be the best situation for him So he'll have to think about that himself. But also, like he said, and it's kind of like the Jeremy Grant situation, he wants to be the guy, and he is now their big man. Sabonis was their big man. He was a former All-Star, but now it's Miles Turner. He's gonna have all the spotlight and all that. So I don't know. It's interesting. There's one kind of trade rumor type situation going on, and it's before the McCollum trade, there was a lot of McCollum and maybe a Marcus Smart to the Hawks. Obviously, this is my Hawks that we're talking about, so I kind of got really invested with it. I didn't like the idea of McCollum because I don't like the backcourt of Trae Young and CJ McCollum. It's kind of the same thing as Dame and CJ McCollum. I just don't think the dynamic would work. But Marcus Smart, I've been saying for years, I think he is the perfect two next to Trae Young. He is a defensive God. He's a great defender on the perimeter, and I think he'll bring that defense so much better. I want the Hawks to trade for Marcus Smart.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Jimmy. I don't think that's gonna happen. Also, the Hawks suck.
Hey, watch your mouth.
No, the Hawks suck.
Watch your mouth.
Y'all went to the conference finals last year, and everybody was projecting y'all to be really good this year. Y'all brought this same exact team back, and it just hasn't been the same. Clint Capella has not been playing that well this year compared to what he has in the last couple of years. And really, y'all I feel like the Hawks got into the situation where they had too many of these young guys with potential instead of being one of the teams to trade their young guys for an established guy.
Yeah.
And I think y'all are caught in that situation. Whereas, a team like, for instance, the Raptors, they have, a couple young guys, but they also have older guys who have been there for a while. And I think y'all's problem is y'all's older guys who have been there for a while are not that good anymore. Gallinari is not that good anymore.
Yeah. And
Capella's, like I just said, Capella's falling down. So I think y'all messed up. Y'all should have traded Cam Reddish 2 years ago when he had all that value. Instead, you traded him for like nothing.
Kept Kevin Knox in a second. Yeah, I think I was really looking forward. And I said for a while, a bunch of the Hawks fans, a bunch of just Hawks Nation was saying, why the hell we trade Cam Reddish? He's such a good player, has so much potential. But I've been saying for so long, trade him right now when his potential's high and when his value's high. But match him with another one of our big deals and veteran players, and we can get someone good out of it. We can get a good we don't necessarily need a wing, but we can get, a guard, a two guard that can play good for us. And I was kind of annoyed of what we got back for Cam Reddish, but yeah, I was kind of happy we traded him because now it opens up our wing spot, and we have so many players, like you said, so many good underdeveloped kind of young players that need play time, and that kind of freed some spots. But I would love to get Marcus Smart on the team. It's up in discussion. I don't see Boston trading him unless they get the right deal. But that's kind of for every team. But
I just got a thing from ESPN that says the Lakers have been unwilling to include their 2027 first-round pick in any possible Russell Westbrook trade. Now, that is because the Lakers traded almost all of their first-round picks for Anthony Davis a couple of years ago. So I understand that you can't send out your next 5 first-round picks, just because you want to win a championship.
You need to retain at least one.
Just because you want to win a championship this year. Because in all reality, the GM and everybody that's there now, they're probably not going to be. They might not be there in 5 years. LeBron's probably not going to be there in 5 years. So you gotta think about the future as well.
LeBron's going where Bronny gets drafted.
Yeah, that's what he says. But there's a lot of stuff that's going to go on tonight into tomorrow. Tomorrow is the trade deadline's at 3:00, so that'll be interesting to look at. We may do a little like live reaction to the trade deadline on Instagram or something. I don't know how y'all would feel about that, but I was thinking about that. But any final thoughts on NBA trade rumors or anything?
Nah, the Hawks don't suck, but
No, they do.
I think that's it. Hey, go ahead and like, subscribe, comment down below, and we want to hear y'all's thoughts and opinions about it. So we check out our Twitter. We're tweeting about it, and let us know in some tweets and in the comments some trade packages you guys put together for some some good trades. So yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
See you guys.
See ya.